I have Marc from the Arson Choir on the phone. I believe, Marc, you are in Los Angeles, California. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, that's 100% correct.
And are you from there, or did you move from somewhere else to there in search of your dream?
No, I've always been in the Southern California area. I just kind of ended up in, where we're located. I just was lucky enough to find guys like-minded in the area as well.
How did the Arson Choir come to be?
Man, I wish it was some great, crazy story. It really was just, I've been playing around with the other core members, which was the drummer Kevin and the other guitarist Eric. We've been playing around in bands for a long time together, and we really just ended up lucky to find the vocalist that we have now, Phil, while playing with other bands, and he saw the Arson Choir with the original vocalist, and things just ended up happening where he joined. And with our bassist, he was literally in the lockout next door to us, and he was just a friend of ours and joined the band. I wish it was a more exciting story.
And how has the pandemic affected the band's plans for this year? And what positive, if any, changes do you see going forward?
It's been interesting seeing how everybody's been affected with the pandemic, and it's interesting, especially to see how our friends and bands have kind of reacted to it, because with the Arson Choir, we've always kind of seen it as this band can end tomorrow. Regardless of how good we're doing, regardless of what's going on, everything can change the next day, be it, something happens to somebody or, somebody just, ready to call it quits. And we've always kind of treated it that way. We've always kind of treated it like every show could be the last show. Every record could be the last record. So we've just, taken the pandemic as another thing to go, well, we have to do this band anyway. We have to continue moving on. We have to continue doing what we're doing. So other than not being able to play shows, we've kind of treated it as no, we're just going to keep going and keep doing what we do and work on whatever's, coming up and work on whatever we think is next. So the positive part about it is just being able to continue making music, continue working, continue making content, continue releasing as much stuff as we can, and still, looking forward to being okay, well, when things kind of get back to normal, we'll still be the same band. We'll still be, the Arson Choir that was before, just now we have a record out.
How have you adjusted to mask wearing and social distancing, and have you participated in any uprisings, protests, window smashing? Have you been tear gassed?
So we have a few members that have taken to voicing their opinions on what's been going on. We're a very outspoken band, and with songs like Revenge My Love, it kind of embodies that. I haven't personally been tear gassed. Our content creator has been hit with a few of the rubber bullets, and that was interesting to see, especially seeing all the bruises that he got out of it. I believe that I think our vocalist was near where someone was tear gassed. I don't think he was tear gassed himself. But we've been trying to do our best to be safe, to voice our opinions as much as we can, but still be safe and wear masks and social distance as much as possible. But at the end of the day, we can only do so much. We can't be responsible for what other people are doing. So we've encountered people that don't want to wear masks and don't want to social distance, and we just do our best to protect ourselves.
How did you get into music? Is there a particular type of music like turbo pop or country that you just can't grasp?
Sure. I got into music because I was training to be a professional wrestler. And as funny as that sounds, I got injured while training. And during my downtime, I ended up having a friend that wanted me to play bass. So I picked up the bass and started playing that way. and just continued. I just haven't really stopped playing music ever since. Music that I can't get into. I try to get into whatever I can. Like the main thing I don't ever like is country, but I try to appreciate all kinds of music, even if I don't particularly care for it. Like, I still try to appreciate it. I still try to appreciate, why I don't like it, or elements of what's in there that I don't care for, because then it kind of reflects back to me and goes, well, why don't I like that? What are the elements of that music that I don't like? Because then I can go, okay, well, I know I never want to do that. I never want to do that thing that turns me off in their music in my music.
What was your first concert?
I think I drove with some buddies all the way to Arizona to go see Korn.
Nice. And what was your first band T-shirt?
I want to say it was a Slayer T-shirt.
What would be your prized music collectible?
I think it was one Christmas my girlfriend got me these pictures from a very prominent photographer named Jeremy Schaefer, and he did pictures for one of my favorite bands, which is 18 Visions. Well, he took single photos of one of the members that was a friend of mine, Mick Morris, and that was really personal for me, because I was somewhat friends with him. We had gone back and forth a lot. We had traded gear a few times. We had worked on a few things together. He had involved me in his clothing company, so we had gone back and forth a few times. So she got me these pictures that Jeremy did of Mick, and yeah, I think that's probably up there with my in the collection. That's probably not going to go anywhere.
Starting in 2014, was there a healthy local music scene that you were a part of?
I think I've always kind of been in and out of the music scene. I think I've been more in than out in the music scene. I would say it was healthy. I would say it was competitive. I would definitely think that there were a lot of bands. Yeah, we've been fairly active in the scene for a good amount of time.
Were there any bands in your scene that you were surprised that did not make it to the next level?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like there's always bands that have their potential, and for one reason or another are unable to see it. Bands like We Are Machines, Channels. Those are the main two that I was personally fans of. I was personally pushing for, and yeah, just for whatever reason, people quit, or people can't meet up anymore, or it's just not a priority, or things happen personality wise for bands where it's just not possible to continue working together.
Now the new EP is Invisible Monsters, comes out in October. What kind of response have you received with what's been released so far?
It's been overwhelmingly positive, and I really was not expecting that, because I do this music because I need to get things off my mind. I need to express myself in certain ways, and if somebody connects with it for just 2 seconds, like, I absolutely appreciate it. And the fact that, like, we've been able to release 2 songs. We've got 2 more songs coming. We've got, content for everything coming. It's been just absolutely overwhelming on how everybody has been receiving it, and how everybody has been kind of, keep going. Like, this is what you guys should be doing. Like, this sounds really good. Like, I hope that's what surprises me, is that a lot of people are like, I thought there would be more. And that's really, reassuring to me, because we're working on more. We're working on whatever it can hopefully be next. And we just weren't ready for, we need more, as soon as possible.
Talk a little bit about making Invisible Monsters and the vision you had going into it.
Going into it, it was a weird time for the band, because we released the first record, and as much as I love that record, it kind of didn't get the attention it needed, at least in my opinion, because the vocalist we had at the time had left as we were releasing that record. So we were in a weird spot where it's like, well, we have this record, but we can't really push it because we don't have a vocalist. And if we did push it, the vocalist that's going to push it with us isn't the one that's on the record. So it was a weird, spot. So we were going into the making of, what would become Invisible Monsters, not knowing who was going to be the front person or whose voice was going to be on it. So we just started writing ideas together, not knowing who was going to be there. Ended up finding Phil, and then, things kind of clicked. But as we were going into, like you're saying, like the making of it, the recording process wasn't easy. The recording process was a lot of back and forth, was a lot of push, and not a lot of help on the side of the producer that we were working with at the time. And, we got through drum tracking, and the producer that was working the drums that we thought was gonna finish the record with us ended up not being able to finish. And, we understood that that's something that happens, but at the same time, we were still stuck with a half-finished record. And we still have to continue as a band. So we ended up getting lucky and working with a friend of ours named Casval Wolfe, and he was the one that was able to kind of finish up the recording, finish up the production, finish up the mixing, the mastering. Like, they did so much work, and I still really appreciate all the work that he did for us. And we ended up at the end just going like, wow, like, I don't know if he recovered it or just was able to salvage everything together to make this record that sounds like we just did one place, one time, and were able to capture that energy that we were looking for in this record. So it was a tough situation that we were able to make the best out of.
The Arson Choir has been compared to Every Time I Die and The Chariot, among others. Where do you see the current state of your music world art-wise?
Oh, man, I completely appreciate even being put in the same sentence as those bands. Like, I look up to bands like Every Time I Die, The Chariot, Dillinger Escape Plan, Heavy Low Low. Like, all those bands are bands that I, have listened to for years. But as far as, like, the state of art right now, like, we're just gonna have to wait and see how people have been taking the lockdown and or the shutdown, whatever you want to call it, and utilizing their time. I hope that there's a good amount of art that comes out of it. I hope that bands, music, artists are able to thrive and survive after. But as far as my world, like, I just do my best to sit down and come up with riffs that make me move and make me happy. Hopefully that translates.
How familiar are you with reaction videos? And do you think they are absurd?
I've sat down and watched a couple of reaction videos, and for me, they're a little bit hard to get through. I understand the need for certain ones. I guess I understand the need for, like, the need for some exposure to a degree. But I've sat through a few of them where it's like, people react to metalcore or people react to death metal. And I don't know, man, it's a little hard to have someone that has no prior experience with that kind of music kind of dump on your music and kind of go like, oh, I don't get this, or I don't see why people like this, or at the end of the day, then it's not for you. Like, that's totally okay. Like, I'm not trying to force it down your throat. So when you get those kind of reaction videos and they feel very one-sided, they feel very I wouldn't say I don't even know what the word would be, but they feel very defamatory. I guess defamatory is the word, where it's like you're almost talking down at the artist, saying like, because I don't get you, it's not good. And I don't personally care for that. Like, I'm not trying to shove my music down your throat. If you don't like it, like, that's okay. Like, we don't have to, I don't expect every single person to like my music, but at the same time, like, I'm not trying to shove it on you and force it on you and go like, no, like, I need you to react to this, because that's not the reaction I want either. I want you to if you're interested in what I'm doing, like, that's cool. Like, be interested in what I do. But yeah, I'm not super about the reaction videos. I'm not super understanding on how that's supposed to help the music scene. If anything, I feel like that almost hurts the artists in a way.
Well, not everybody gets everything, and not everybody likes everything. And would you agree? Criticism is helpful.
Oh, I think criticism is great. I think positive criticism is even better. I'm not the kind of guy to just dump on an artist just to dump on him. Like, if I don't like him, it's usually I have a reason for it. Mostly it's when you get in front of a video and you have editors and you have guys that are able to kind of massage or manipulate a story in a way where it's like certain things in certain ways that things are said are cut out. You end up with a narrative that sounds more like negativity than it does the positive criticism that was in there. Like, if you see a video where it's like, I may not like this, but they could do this, they may only leave in the part that says, I don't like this. And that's where you kind of get that editor's choice of like, oh, well, do you want to actually like let the full opinion come through, or do you only want your personal narrative to come through that, oh, well, they're not going to like this, so I'm just going to leave that section in. I feel like that happens more than people understand. I feel like there's definitely writers and critics that I appreciate because they're able to give their honest opinion unfiltered, better than to me, to a reaction video where it's like maybe they were trying to say more in the video and that was edited for time.
Well, thank you, Marc. Thank you for your time. Do you have any final thoughts that you like to share with anybody that might be listening to this?
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate this, and I try to make time, whenever I can, to do conversations and do these kind of whatever I can, because anytime somebody's interested in my dumb little band, it really helps. Outside of that, Invisible Monsters is out October 2nd. You can find us on all the socials, at the Arson Choir or Facebook.com/the Arson Choir, or on our YouTube. We'll be releasing content basically every Friday from now on. So thank you again for having me on, Z. I appreciate it.